Thank you for joining us again and welcome back to our channel. If you are joining us for the first time, we want to thank you for watching. In the past couple of months and years, the continent of Africa has received high-profile visitors from the United States of America, regular visits from China, and also the European Union continues to flock in the region. You have visitors from the Middle Eastern partners, from Russia, and also Turkey, which is an emerging power in the region. India is not left out, and other French powers who are engaging the continent of Africa like never before seen. Africa also is making strategic choices to tell its geopolitical partners that it's not going to be business as usual. This has caused a lot of confusion with regards to geopolitical setting. In this episode, I'm going to be diving into the great power competition in the continent of Africa, why Africa's relevance cannot be underestimated. So without any more delay, let's just dive straight into it. The great power competition in the continent of Africa is a classic aspect of international relations. It's based on traditional power politics and also particularly a permanent contest for supremacy regionally and also globally. The issue of great power competition is particularly relevant in the context of China's rise, the relevant decline of the United States of America, and Russia's resurgence, including the country of Turkey, and geopolitical partners across the Middle East who are trying to engage the continent of Africa. Three distinct elements, power, security, and also status, come in mind when we talk about this competition. These are very important issues and also most significant stakes in the geopolitical and also competition. Other factors such as neighborhood and also sub-regional may affect this request for great power status with regards to the continent of Africa. If you look at geopolitics in play, in Africa, rivalry and competition for influence and resources between the European Union and the United States, including Russia and China, are occurring as we all see in recent months. Throughout history, Africa has attracted significant international interest because of its natural resources and economic potential. Additionally, the geostrategic location of the continent of Africa is of particularly interest, and also since it is the continent's best positioned geographically in relations to the larger consumption center of the world. Africa has, differently from other continents, a positive demographic bonus with growing consumers' power as well. If you look at strategic option, great power competition in Africa has had several positions and also positive consequences. African countries have become attractive for foreign direct investment, the FDI, due to their demographic bonus, growing economic markets, and also infrastructural opportunities. China has been very active in the continent of Africa since the early 2000s, with the growing presence through the BRI and also foreign investment, and many focus on ports, railways, and also energy facilities, including the particular development across the Standard Gauge Railway in Kenya and a whole lot of other projects that China has carried out in the continent of Africa that has transformed the African people's life in several ways. Arguably, others will say that it includes investments that are not clear. However, the continent of African people need actual infrastructural development and also real projects that can be written home about. Military cooperation has been an area of particular interest with regards to the great power competition, with the United States of America having the most significant military presence in the region. However, we all have seen what's happened with the United States of America in the country of Niger. Niger has asked the US to leave the country, and also the $100 million drone base in the city of Aljazeera is also going to be dismantled, based on that country's government requesting the United States to leave its country. China has been involved in peacekeeping mission in Africa and recently established its first overseas military base in the country of Djibouti. Russia, which has had active presence since the Soviet Union period, also has significant cooperation agreement with many African countries. We all have seen how the Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, have been visiting the country of Guinea, Burkina Faso, and also Mali to engage Russia's strategic interest in the particular part of the continent of Africa. The relationship between Africa and Russia goes back to several years during the Soviet Union period. Most African nations look up to Russia in several ways. They have some strategic relationship, as you all have seen in the United Nations Security Council, and also in several areas looking at the UN vote that was also placed to condemn Russia's invasion, and you all see what position how African countries reacted with regards to that. The continent of Africa is important in strategic areas in a number of ways that the world can never underestimate that particular continent. If you look at perspective, with African abundance in natural resources and a number of other areas, oil, gas, mineral, and also agricultural commodities, access to such goods has been an essential driver for competition between the great powers in the region. All players, Russia, China, and also the United States of America, including the European Union, have sought cooperation agreement to secure access to resources and also diverse energy resources as well. If you look at the geopolitics in play, diplomatically, engagement with Africa has grown. Both China and the United States of America have launched initiatives to enhance diplomatic cooperation with African countries. China has established and developed the relevance of its Forum on China-African Cooperation, known as FOCAC, and the United States of America has its own framework, like Prosper African Initiative, and also to promote economic growth and improve governance in the region. If you look at geopolitics in play, China's adopt a no-string-attached approach in Africa based on China's strategy to the continent of Africa, with a particular focus on economic development and infrastructure, while Western countries seek to emphasize governance and also human rights. The Chinese strategy has also allowed African countries to implement projects faster to address current issues and also challenges. The United States of America has attempted to counteract Russia and also China in the continent in terms of infrastructure-wise, looking at the Lobito Corridor project, which so far hasn't had any completion or any phase. The United States of America needs to re-emerge itself and also prove to the African people that it does have businesses that can engage in the continent of Africa, to invest in the regions and to display to the continent of African people, because Africans need to see, not to just read things on paper. The African farmers would prefer to see a bridge crossing rivers and also show clear indication with regards to road project to believe that the United States has something to offer. From the security strategic point of view, Russia has engaged the continent of Africa, looking at Mali, Burkina Faso, and a whole lot of other countries across the region. Russia's relationship with the country of South Africa is so strong that we all have seen how the United States Congress has reacted in relation to that. If you look at other alternatives, African countries can also leverage this great power dynamic based on their own domestic interests and long-term strategy to also attract investment, technology, transfer, and also more rapidly economic development. The effective determination of the national interest with an effective strategy should be the main driving force for pursuing a thriving situation. The great power competition in Africa reflects the broader global shift in geopolitics and also geoeconomic interest. In the present opportunity for Africa nations to also benefit from the foreign investment and partnership, but also possess challenges in managing competition, interest, and also ensuring sustainable development for its own people. The great power competition in the continent of Africa is just warming up, as African countries in the western part of the continent have decided to start making strategic choices. This hasn't sit well with regards to Africa's partner. The great power competition will continue, and it's left for the continent of Africa to sit up to make its own decision for the interests of its own people. If you look at the trajectory with regards to Africa's population, Africa is growing rapidly, and you have thousands and millions of students coming out from the universities and also looking for job creation. They want to have their own life and have a say with regards to their development. That's the reason why the great power competition in the continent of Africa may come with positives and also negative effects. We all shall be looking on how Africa engage this particular geopolitical importance at the moment, and how Africa will shape its own future with regards to the current power competition in the region. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully we've given you a perspective of why the great power competition in the continent of Africa can be leveraged in a number of areas, and why China, the United States of America, the European Union, Russia, including the Middle Eastern partners, and India have engaged the continent of Africa. For now, we are looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Smash the subscribe button, share the video, and encourage our research. We shall be joining you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.